Here we are, fellas, and I'm with the Houston Texans. He was kind enough to join us, so thanks for joining us. We're gonna do some questions with you, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
You're in a really interesting division. It always seems that you guys kind of start off slow, you kind of beat each other up, but at the end of the division, it's always very intriguing to see who wins that division. Who do you think?
It's a very tough division. We obviously, as you guys have pointed out, don't play much defense, not by choice. I mean, obviously we would like to play some defense, but we're kind of more of a shoot 'em out, type of game. And yeah, we beat up on each other, and it's always comes down to the last couple weeks who's going to win the division. Unfortunately, I lost it last year, and Alex pulled it out. But we had another great game in the playoffs, and I look forward to playing him more and staying and Donnie more.
That's interesting because your division gets a lot of slack for not having defense. Do you think your division has defense, or is it just because the offense is overpowering, the defense just doesn't get any credit? Or is it true that your division really doesn't have any defense?
I don't think that it's that we don't have any defense. I mean, I know myself, I have a couple good defensive players. Alex has a couple good defensive players. I just think the way that our team is built, we're more offensively built. At
Yeah.
least I know myself, with the three wide receivers, best at running back. I'm more built to score and then hope that my defense can stop you a couple times. That way I can win the game. And I did see improvements in my defense the past game that I played against Ime. I mean, AP tore me up, but I mean, he'll do that to anyone.
He does that to me too. I have to play him twice a year. It's not easy.
Yeah. So, but besides that, I mean, I saw great improvements in my defense. So I'm hoping definitely to have more of a defensive team this year, as I'm sure everyone in my division is.
Right.
That we can have a better chance of winning some games.
So, who do you think's the toughest guy in your division?
The person that I always seem to have the best games with is Alex. Me and him definitely, the games always tend to be, within 7 to 10 point range. We had that one huge game last year where I scored like 80 on them, but besides that, they've always been, 45, 38, somewhere around that range where we're just shooting it out back and forth to like the last possession. Whoever, has that last possession or who's lucky enough to make a couple stops, generally wins the game. But me and him always have definitely the best games out of the group.
Yeah, I think me and Stock call it arena football time because you guys just seem to put up a lot of points, and it always seems to. Though, like I said, everyone says that you guys don't have defense, and you don't have, you score a lot of points, but somebody's got to make stops for somebody to win. So, you're right. You are improving at defense. Do you think that someone's going to win your division outright, or do you think it's going to be another long, drawn-out season?
No, I mean, I think, just with the way that the teams are based, we beat up on each other, like I said. So I definitely think, at least with our games, they're all going to be maybe split or something like that. I think that the division will definitely come down to the last couple weeks again, just with the way that everyone is. It tends to always be a pretty close division, 1-2 games at the most. The winner has. Last year it came down to the last week with me and Alex. So yeah, I definitely think it'll be a pretty close division race again.
So help me out here, because me and Stocks are from the north. We're from the northern part of the division. Everyone says the AFC is better. Who's got the better division? We don't get enough AFC guys on the show, and so we don't get the point of view. So kind of help me out. Who's better?
Well, I mean, of course, I have to say AFC being in the AFC,
Right.
but I mean, honestly, I think both divisions have great teams and have tough games. I mean, the AFC has Burr, who his running game is unstoppable, and a couple other really good teams too. And the NFC has the Giants and Manny and a couple other good teams too. And then there's teams that didn't do well last year that won the Super Bowl the year before, like Oakland. I mean, if he puts his pieces back together, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think that there's one division better than the other, really. I mean, I think we both have good owners, and, that's what makes this league so good is that both sides are balanced. It's not just like one side has all the good owners and the other one,
Right.
it's a couple good teams and nothing else.
Well, let's get down to some dirt. Some people laugh at your trades. They say they're ridiculous. So, what's your philosophy when you go after a guy in a trade? Obviously, you want to get the best guy. Everyone wants to get the best end of the deal. That's the idea of getting a trade is negotiating for the best deal possible for your team.
Right.
But when you go after these big name free agents and you pay all this money, like what goes through your head?
Well, I mean, I've always been someone that, find someone that they want, and I'm not scared to go put out the money to go get them. I did it with Theo the first season. I put out the money to go get him. I did it with McNeil last year, even though as much as I gave him, that was a mistake. I pressed the wrong button, and but I was planning on going after him very heavy and very hard.
Just not that hard, that quick.
Durant this year. So, if there's a free agent out there that I think will help my team, I have no issue going out there paying the money for him.
Yep.
Especially when, Durant, everyone's saying, you paid him $65 million over 3 years. Yeah, I did, but if you look at his cap penalty, I mean, I can cut him next year, only take like a $1.8 million hit, and have that $20 million back on my team.
Right.
It's not like I'm making as big of an investment as everyone thinks that I'm making. As far as the trade offers, I mean, honestly, maybe I just value players a little differently. I mean, like an offer I made for Newton, everyone laughed at. I thought it was a fair offer. Harris, had a great year last year. Granted, he's a different type of quarterback. You have to have the right scheme for him.
Right.
But, I mean, if he's the right type of quarterback for your scheme, then, I think that was a very fair trade. So I guess maybe I just, value players a little differently than other people value them. But
well, like I said, if you're not trying to get the best deal for yourself, I mean, we're not trying to rip off anyone, and you've offered some trades where I laugh at them, to be quite honest, but nothing where I was like, that guy, he's just looking to ruin the league, or he's looking to, swindle guys and then leave the league. You haven't done any of those. Now, granted,
what everyone points at was that trade the other year I made with the Bucks, and everyone's like, you ripped him off, but I mean, he offered the deal. Am I supposed to say no to a deal that he offers? He said, what would it take? Well, I said, what would you give for Flowers? And he made the offer. So I took it. It's not like I, offered that hoping to rip him off. Did I get the better deal? Yeah, I got a much better deal in my opinion. But, I mean, it wasn't my, call going into it to try to rip him off.
Well, that is a debate in itself because he didn't have a good year when he had that high draft pick. This year he goes 8-8. He wins like eight games in a row or something like that. So maybe that trade really affected his team. Maybe it fit his scheme, like you were saying. It's all about fitting your comfort level and getting players that you're comfortable playing with and that kind of thing. Going back to Durant, because I own Durant. He was a Lion last year. He's been a Lion for 2 years. I think he's a very good player. I don't know, like you said, the cap penalty's not bad, so if he doesn't play good, just cut your losses, whatever. But do you think he was worth that money? And what's your expectations for him going forward? Like, what's a good season
I
for
liked
you?
his speed a lot. Linebackers, I tend to base my linebackers around speed. That way they can get to the guys on the edges, stuff like that. I think him, Derek Johnson, and Brooks Reed are going to be a very good linebacking core. I was looking for someone to replace Keith Bullock, who has been my other linebacker right now, and he is still on my team, but, I was looking for someone to replace him in the future. Is he worth $20 million a season like I paid him? No, probably not, but, if the cap penalty had been higher, then I probably would have bowed out at like 30 or 40 million.
Right.
But with the cap penalty so low, it was worth it to taking a risk to invest in someone that, you know, could rack up, you know, a good 40, 50 tackles and, you know, help my defense, which is something that, you know, I greatly needed help in.
Right.
Which is why most of my trades this offseason were based on trying to, you know, make my defense better.
I joke around saying you probably would have gave that to a wide receiver, but realistically, you did need help defensively, and you felt that guy was the best available guy. We don't have that many seasons left, and so you went out and you tried to make a move, and I find that, you know, to be a very good thing, and at least you're out there trying to make moves. Now, some of them are ridiculous offers or what have you to some people, but you are being active. You're not just sitting back and saying, oh, my team is this, I'm in a tough division, Alex is coming up, there's nothing I can do, just let him have the division. I know you're too competitive for that, and, you know, in that regard, I respect it.
Right,
Now,
right. I will say, though, if Greg Jennings had been out there, I probably would have given that money to him. I mean, just to, you know, have the chance to have 4 wide receivers in the 90s all out there.
well,
I mean, that would have been insane.
well, let me ask you this question, because a lot of people say, what does he do with all those receivers? How can he possibly get all those guys on the field and give them the ball? Because we know if it was real life, the quarterback would be under so much pressure, he'd probably be a bald guy, because there'd be wide receivers, and the divas, usually that's the diva category.
Yeah.
You got all the receivers wanting the balls, they want 12 touches, you know, and this many games, and they want, you know, this ball this time. How do you manage having that many guys? I mean, I know there's not actual guys talking to you, but there's got to be some pressure when you got all those guys.
Well, I mean, you know, I think they all have different roles. I mean, AJ, you know, he can stretch the field, obviously. You know, if it's one-on-one coverage on him, he's hard to cover. On the opposite side, I have Dez Bryant. So, you know, if you're going to put more people on AJ, then I'm going to have Dez Bryant, who does, you know, pretty much the same type of thing as AJ. Can stretch the field, can make the good catches, has pretty good speed. So, you know, you kind of have to pick your poison there. And then I have Wes Welker, who's, you know, a perfect slot receiver, you know, can make the catches and do what
He can make catches? I'm just
yeah.
I'm just making sure he can make catches.
I mean, that cost me some money, but normally he can make some catches. So, I mean, they each have their own role. And, you know, then I got Daniels as the tight end who, you know, puts up some pretty good numbers.
Right.
My number 4 wide receiver, a guy I drafted this year, he's only 63 overall, but I have him in another league. And, you know, he's made, you know, 20 catches for like 300 yards in like 4 games. So, I mean, really, whoever's open is going to get the ball. I mean, that's just how it is. Whoever's open is going to get the ball and will make the plays.
So you're a real Patriots fan. I didn't mean to make the dig at you, but having your boy Welker, that's got to feel pretty good. Because I know, being a Lions fan, you want players that you know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I had Austin last year, and, you know, he did a great job as the number 3 wide receiver. But when I was offered Welker in a second for Austin and a 4th, you know, with them basically being like the same exact type of wide receivers, to gain a 2nd round pick, you know, I had to jump on it.
Now, you come to the NFC North, you play me, you play Manny, you play these guys you might not normally see on a regular basis. What's kind of your philosophy when you don't really know or you don't play a guy a lot and then having to play him one season? Although it is fun, it's kind of nerve-wracking, isn't it? Because we don't know what to expect, and that's sometimes makes the best games.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you know, generally I'll try to, you know, do some scouting, see who maybe you guys pass to, see, you know, who makes the most plays on your defense, stuff like that. But really, it's, you know, you're going in blind. I mean, unless you played, you know, friendly games with people, and even then it's different.
It's not the same, yeah.
Rosters, different playing styles when you're playing friendly. You know, maybe you're trying a different playbook, stuff like that. So I mean, it's always different. I think I've played a couple of you maybe in another league. So you know, I've had that chance, but yeah, it's definitely going to be different, and look forward to getting the chance to play some new people that I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
I have played Manny in 2 seasons that I've been in this league. I don't think.
Right. So it's always fun to play those cross matchups. When you don't see each other a lot, because it's that one game, that one bragging right. You don't get a lot of shots at it. Like you said, you haven't played Manny much. So who's the team that you're really looking forward to playing that you don't usually play? Is it Manny or is it somebody else?
Uh, um, well, I haven't really looked at my schedule this much, so I can't be 100% sure. I don't think I play them, but whenever me and Saints play, it's a great game. Me and Burr kind of have a rivalry going on now the past 2 seasons, so that's always a fun game to play him. I'd like to play the Giants, actually. I'd like to
Yep.
play them. I think that, I don't know if he's as good as everyone makes him out to be.
Everyone always says that, but man, he puts up things. It's not just you.
It's like he has one weapon. So, it seems like if you can shut down Knicks, you have a good chance of winning the game, and I think Charles could shut him down. So I think that would be a fun game.
It's not just you. Manny said that he liked his game, but he thought he'd be beat. He went undefeated the first season. This season he wins the Super Bowl. He's done everything right, but people still kind of doubt him or think he can be beat. Now you talked about Stocks and how you might be excited to play him. You guys don't play a lot. What do you think of his philosophy? Because I know he'll listen. He couldn't join us because he's at work and all that stuff. What do you think of his philosophy of the 2 tight ends? He's using a 2 tight end set. He's got 2 phenomenal, great tight ends.
I'd probably put one of them at wide receiver. 2 tight ends. It's taking away from your other sets because you have to keep the 2 tight ends on the field.
Yep.
If you have those 2 good tight ends and you have a good quarterback like he has Breeze, it can definitely work. You look at the Patriots and,
Yep.
look at Monk and Hernandez. If you have 2 good tight ends, then that can be big trouble for the defense. But like I said, also, then you have to take some wide receivers off the field to put those 2 tight ends on the field. So it's a different matchup. But I think that if you have the right defenses, then you can stop it fairly easy.
Like everything, it's all about matchups and when you call things and when you do things and if you mix it up enough. Who's the team that kind of scares you or might make a run at the Super Bowl? You think the team? You mentioned the Giants, you mentioned the Saints, you mentioned Manny. Who's the guy that kind of takes the leap and goes to the Super Bowl?
I played Minnesota, and if people can't stop AP like I couldn't, the second he gets around that corner, he's gone. That's what killed me in our game. I gave up like 3 or 4 big runs to him. Where if he gets around that corner, especially on that counter, he seemed to like it. But if he gets around that corner, he's gone, and he has that wide receiver strong last year who put up some good numbers.
Yeah.
I think that they, could make a run at it. Runner, he's in a tough division, but he's a great owner, so I definitely think if he puts all the pieces together, he could make a run at it as well.
Yeah, he's just got to get his passing game under control because he's one of the best Madden runners I've ever seen.
Yeah, but changing your quarterback 3 times in 3 seasons.
Yeah, he needs to find some stability there.
Right.
Let me ask you some rapid fire. So, if you could score a touchdown with a wide receiver, like a lot of people, they think you're a wide receiver whore if you want to use a lack of better words, or would you rather run a big run with Best, break off a 50-yard run? So you can bomb it with your wide receiver or run with a speedster like Best. What feels better to you?
I'd probably say I enjoy passing it more, but the run definitely kind of it's harder to do. So when you can do something like that, it definitely is a lot better. I think that's one of the things that hurt me at the end of the last year when Best went down.
Yep.
So I didn't have that impact running game. Thomas put up some okay games. Tate put up some okay games, but I didn't have that impact rushing game. Now that I have that, I think my offense is going to be a lot harder to face because if you put 8 men in the box, how are you going to deal with those 3 wide receivers?
Yeah.
So I'm really good with either or. As long as I score, it's good.
Right. No, I feel the same way. I think you have to run at least enough. I don't care about yardage, to be honest. I care about touches. If I'm giving that running back touches, at least they have to stay honest, and at least they have to, honor the fact that I might run, and that's important because when you lose a guy like Best, especially when you're in the playoffs, and we talked about that, that playoff loss to Alex, and I pointed out that he didn't have a job at Best, and that's a big thing, even though his yardage might not have been great, or his touchdown total might not have been great in that game. It still would have been a weapon that you can utilize.
Right. I mean, I had Tate that game, but I mean, I think he maybe ran for 70 yards. Part of that game was, I just made too many mistakes. Against Alex, it seems like we kind of always, each of us will throw like 3 or 4 interceptions and, have 5 or 6 turnovers in the game. You can't do that in a game and expect to win.
So everyone is always afraid to come on. I don't know. I guess they think me and Stocks are very scary monsters, or what it is. I don't know. I really don't. It was great having you, interviewing you, just talking with you. What do you say to other owners who might want to come on, but they're scared of their voice, or they're scared of messing up? I'm not that scary, am I? I mean.
No. I mean, I just kind of felt like, it would be a good thing. I'm sure, owners kind of, they kind of see me as the villain, I think, a little bit in this league, where I'll go out and pretty much sign anyone and, not scared to make the big trade. So, I just kind of want to voice my opinion a little bit about that and, so.
Again, it is what it is. There's owners like that. The NFL, the Redskins dish out a lot of money. The Cowboys, they're not afraid to dish out some money.
Right. To me, you need to play for this year, and next year, there will be moves that you can make to get under the cap, and then do it all over again. I mean,
right.
As long as you have good players on the field each year, then why not do it? Why have 20 million in cap sitting there when you can go out and you can spend it? You're not getting anything by letting it sit there.
I totally agree. I mean, it's fake money anyways. It's not real money, and then you don't get anything. You don't get any value if you're not spending it.
Correct.
Everyone's like, oh, why do you got 6? I got like 6 running backs on my team because I don't have a true fullback, so my running backs are fullbacks too. So everyone's like, why do you got so many running backs? It's like because I can. I mean, honestly, I got the cap. If the guy's not rushing well, I put another guy. In my first game, I had 7 rushers.
Right,
so
exactly. I mean, I have 6 or 7 cornerbacks on my team. I have like 5 running backs on my team.
right,
I mean, if you have the money, it's not like you get a cap penalty or something like that, a luxury tax penalty if you spend too much money. You just have less cap going into the next year, but you can always make moves to make that, to have more cap. All the owners this year were, saying how little cap I was going to have, and I ended up having 24 million.
yep.
So there's always moves that you can make to, get more cap if you want more cap.
Well, talking to you and knowing you, I mean, I've been a loyal owner for a while, and you've been in this league past, I think Madden 11, even maybe Madden 10. So you've been in here a long time. It's not like you're just coming in and making these huge deals and wanting to screw everyone over. Like you said, you might get portrayed sometimes as the villain. You think we always need to have a cap, right?
Yeah, I definitely, think compared to last year, this is much better, more fun with the cap. It makes it a little more even, and also it's more fun to have the free agent bidding and all that.
Right.
Because if you don't have a cap, why would you ever trade a high overall guy? You're not paying him any money. Why would you ever trade a Tom Brady or a Drew Brees or something like that?
Right.
When you have no reason to. It's not going to affect you. So of course you're going to want to keep your best players. With the cap, sometimes all right, I'll trade a Tom Brady to get, three good players, but take less cap. So it is more thinking involved, and I like it more. I definitely think in the future, all leagues have to be this way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the same reason we play fantasy football because we're never going to be GMs. We're never going to probably be coaches. I mean, we're always going to be just sitting on our couches and be huge fans. But it's fun to take that kind of role, even if it isn't a video game, and say this is what I would do with this team, and this is why. I go out and get these wide receivers, or I'm running like you said, the Steelers. He's all about the run. He's going to go out and draft a young player, and he's going to put an offensive line together and take his chances. I mean, it's fun to play GM, and I couldn't see playing this league without a cap again. Like you said, it creates parity. It makes sure everyone's kind of, and it creates a buzz. Like you were saying, when free agency rolls around, some people are spending tons of money. Like me, I actually spent a lot of money this year. You always usually spend a lot of money, and then there's owners who don't spend a lot of money. They don't believe in it. They want to build through the draft, which is fine. I think it creates such a buzz that we have to do it.
Yeah, because you have owners who, have different playing styles. So, some people like to bargain shop and, try to build through the draft. And other people don't mind, spending that $20 million to get that player that they really want. Each player has his different playing style, and, that's what makes this league so good.
Well, I don't have very many questions. You've been a great guest. I'll let you close up shop here. You can say anything you want to say, even if it's horrible. I know I said some pretty horrible things about your team now and then, so here's your time to take a shot if you want to take a shot.
Yeah, that is true, man. You have said some bad things about the Texans defense, being like Swiss cheese and all that. But, basically, I'm just looking to have a good year and hopefully, have a better season defensive-wise, and hopefully Best doesn't go down this year, so, I can have that running game and, make a better season.
This is always an important question to Manny, so I'll ask this to close it out. What does this league mean to you?
It's a fun time. It got some great owners, and, it's kind of just a way to get away from real life and, just have a fun time talking to guys that enjoy sports and, enjoy Madden. Definitely, this is one of the reasons that I buy Madden every year now. I barely do the offline franchise. I barely do the Ultimate Team now. All that stuff. These leagues that I do are the reason that I buy Madden.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, everyone was saying, the time differences in this league are really going to create a difference. Some of the American guys have had to go the extra mile and kind of work in it with their schedule. And like you say, we're all adults and we all have lives, but it's nice to get away from that now and then, to go in your little box and play the games for an hour. It's kind of fun. Now, what's your kind of thing about the overseas guys? Because I think we went far with them and they go far with us and it works out.
Yeah. Definitely it makes it a little harder sometimes with the time differences and all that, with, work schedules and all that.
Yeah.
But it seems like, with the 3-day advances, we're always able to, find at least one time to get the game in. So, I don't really have a problem with, the overseas guys. I have another league that's all people from the U.S., and that works out too. It just, sometimes you have to play during the day instead of at night or something like that, because of the time difference. But, we always make it work.
All right, man, that's it. Thanks for joining us, and come again, man. I mean, like I said, there's not enough people who, I don't know what we are, if we're scary monsters, if they think we're some, high profile, commentators or whatever it is, but people just don't come on the show, so you're welcome back anytime.
All right, cool.
All right, man. Houston Texans, thanks for that guy joining us. That was a great interview. Again, that was a special report. I'm in the works of getting a few more owners on. Yes, some people actually do want to come on the show finally after a couple seasons. I guess they find it's pretty cool. this is still the Stocks and Logan show, so no one has to worry. Stocks was just out in the office, if you will. You know, he had to take care of some things, and of course he had a job, so he couldn't join us. I just want to preface, this is still the Stocks and Logan show. This is a special report. You know, I had to work it in with the Houston Texans. He did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal. He was patient with my questions. He didn't, you know, get angry at anything. I was trying to be fair to him. He was trying to be fair to me. I had to ask some tough questions, like his, you know, philosophy on his wide receivers. You know, honestly, that can be touchy with some guys sometimes. So that's exciting. While I have the time, we had a 49ers owner who, for some reason, he didn't like the way things were done. If he's listening to this, if you want to come back, man, you were a great opponent. I don't know what I did, if it was my fault. I don't know who told you what, but you know, I really thought you were a good guy and a good addition, and you probably still are. I would just hope you'd reconsider. I end up winning that game by 1. I'm sure Stocks will want to talk about it. I'll talk about it some more, but I wanted, before I did that, I wanted, you know, to say I'm sorry to that guy, because I really had a fun time with that game, and we'll break it down more. But he was, in the interview, the Houston Texans was talking about his game with the Vikings. That game was 31-41. This is why I want guys to come on, because me and Stocks can look at the, you know, stats until we're blue in the face. But you know, if you're not, if we're always just looking at stats, we don't get the, you know, the whole story of things. We don't see, you know, the point of view of other owners in that kind of context. So it is quite fun to see. I hope more guys will take the opportunity. Always, it's a choice. If you don't want to come on, you know, completely okay. But again, thanks to the Houston Texans. Again, this is the Stocks and Logan production. It just didn't work out this time. This is a special report. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. Take it easy. Be good to each other. Be kind to everyone. Peace out.